Welcome back in. It's Tuesday edition, the last version of Taco Tuesday for 2025. Landry Roberts, Pat Smith hanging out here. Conrad Van Order, anchoring things from the studio of Jocks. We're going to have Rodney or Tighter Insider joining us momentarily. You can join us now that the doors are officially open here for Mix and Match Taco Tuesday, but it's not just the street tacos that you can get here. You can also go with a sandwich. You want to go with a bowl, a burrito, the delicious Mexican pizzas, and don't forget about brunch on the weekends. I got the Bottomless Tapas brunch Saturdays and Sundays 10 to 2:30. SocialTaco.bar for more information. And we appreciate our friends Dave and Michael, who takes care of our group up here. She does a wonderful job every single week.
Absolutely. We're going to be joined by Rodney Orr from Tighter Insider coming up momentarily. We had Nathan King on just a couple minutes ago. The big story yesterday is word started coming out of Auburn, and it didn't sound like there was a gray area with Nathan King from Auburn Undercover a couple minutes ago that Cam Coleman is leaving.
He's leaving.
He is leaving Auburn. It's not a situation maybe where there is some negotiations going on. So then the big question is, I think a lot of teams would be in the market for his services from a talent perspective, but you have a budget that you have to look at it. And one of the teams in the Southeastern Conference, because he's an in-state kid, would Alabama be interested? Joining us now from Tighter Insider, Rodney Orr joins us here on Three-Man Front. Rodney, thanks for joining us a couple days in front of your typical day. Of course, we've got the Rose Bowl coming up on Thursday, so you join us here on Tuesday. So I'm going to start with the first one about Cam Coleman. Do you think Alabama potentially would be in the market for his services?
I think they're certainly interested. I mean, based on what I was told yesterday from a really good source, I mean, sounds like that, anytime you have a guy that talented, I mean, obviously you're going to be interested to some extent. But, yeah, I mean, I think that, they would probably love to have a guy of his talent there at wide receiver. I don't know what he's actually – if he's narrowed down his schools or has a list or whatever. I know he was originally committed to Texas A&M coming out of high school. I don't know if the Aggies will be a prominent, part of his, recruitment out of the portal. But there's some that say they will. But, there's going to be a long list of teams that really would like to have him. But I would say this too, Pat, while we're talking about that, is that, I think Alabama's going to get great wide receivers. They're going to get skilled players. They're getting great DBs. They've got some linebackers. They could use some inside linebackers in the portal. But I think the real difference is Alabama needs to do well. They need to get a couple of guys on the offensive and defensive lines. I mean, I think that, that's really where they need to make some hay in the portal. They're going to lose Tim Keenan in the middle. I know they've got Jeremiah Beeman coming back, and I know they've got some other guys. Obviously, London Simmons has turned out to be a real gem this year. But they need some guys, I think, on the interior of the defensive line. So I think those are key areas right there. I think the trenches are most important.
Minus graduation, retention has been such a big part of what Kalen DeBoer's been able to put together in his first two seasons in Tuscaloosa. It's hard to know, especially it looks like the early – portions of before we've even gotten into the transfer portal, Rodney, that you're going to have some elite talent and guys testing the waters. That's not unlike any other year, but maybe more in numbers this season without knowing what these guys are going to do. What's your best projection as far as Alabama departures or at least entering the transfer portal from prominent, well-known players?
From prominent, well-known players, well, that's a good question. I haven't heard. I mean, obviously, the one that everyone keeps asking about is Ryan Williams. What his status is, and what I actually spoke to someone yesterday that said they thought Ryan was fine. Just for your listeners out there, because I know we've been asked that on Tighter Insider TV a couple of times about his status, and also on TighterInsider.com, but. It sounds like, based on some things I heard yesterday, that they thought the feeling is that Ryan Williams is fine here. So, we'll see what happens. I mean, I think you're obviously going to have some players. You've already had a couple that have hit the portal. Well, Cam Howard has, and Bubba Hampton he's been gone. There's more to follow. You know that. It's just a matter of who, and it's going to probably be interesting to watch and see, who those guys are going to be.
Rodney Orr joins us for Tighter Insider. Before we start getting your thoughts on the game coming up on Thursday. I want to stay on this roster conversation. And I want to ask you about Ty Simpson because, Ty Simpson, on most mock drafts right now, he is still listed as a first-rounder. And most indications are that if you're a first-round grade, I mean, you're going to the NFL. But in the event, for some odd reason, that he were to slide out of the first round, the decision of trying to come back to Alabama, and we're just speculating here, Rodney. I'm not saying that
sure.
you know exactly what Kalen DeBoer and Courtney Morgan and the rest of the folks would think about, but that would be a really interesting roster scenario for Alabama if Ty Simpson decides to come back for another year at Alabama, and then what happens to Keelan Russell?
Yeah, Mac's been sitting around a long time too. So him, Austin Mack, and Keelan Russell. I mean, that's a touchy one there. If you just want to speculate, boy, this is not a good thing to do with Alabama people. You know how that goes.
They'll just say it was me and Landrum. It wasn't.
They'll
It wasn't
quote you on
Rodney.
stuff that you don't say.
We'll take it.
But it's hard to see Keelan Russell. I'll put it this way: it's really hard for me to see Keelan Russell sitting another year.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's very
the guy's
fair.
a potential superstar.
Sure.
So again, I don't know what's going to happen, but it would be tough for me to say I could see Keelan Russell saying, "Okay, I'll sit and wait another year." I'll just leave it at that.
If we go back to what? I guess it would have been 2 Fridays ago. If we go back that far, would you have ever believed that as bad as Alabama looked in the first 15 minutes of football, that they would overcome that deficit and just absolutely manhandle Oklahoma in the second half?
You know what? I'm going to tell you guys, seriously, in the first 23 minutes of that game, I mean, I've been doing this 30 years covering them and seen a lot of ups and a lot of downs, as you guys have too. And I have never seen a response the way that response was in that first, 23 minutes of that game in terms of my text messages, phone calls. I mean, people were saying this is the worst, performance I've seen Alabama have in 20 years. And you know what? That it was pretty bad. But you almost got a sense that, okay, it's only 17-0. That's not insurmountable. Alabama just needs to make one play. If they can make a play, maybe get this thing turned around. And then all of a sudden, that third down throw to Latsier Brooks. And then, of course, he has the score later in the drive. And that just kind of seemed to settle everything down. And then Oklahoma started coming apart, They dropped the punt, and it gets blocked. And then, of course, the pick six, and they just fall apart. And like you said, Alabama just kind of dominated. It was an incredible turnaround.
The text thread, and I was just looking, Die Hard, he graduated from Alabama. He loves Alabama. This was the text thread, and the first one was at 8:06 on that Friday, December 19th. This is what my friend sends me. This is so bad it may cost DeBoer his job. He may need to go to Michigan. And then I responded with Wolf or something like that. He responds, I turned it off after 17-0. And then to take you through 2 hours later, I get the text miracle. So there's a snapshot of one Alabama fan.
That's a lot nicer than some of the comments I got, I can tell you. A lot nicer.
All right, so let's talk about the game itself coming up. You covered Kurt Cignetti. He's an outstanding football coach. He did a great job at Alabama. He's done a great job at James Madison. Now, obviously, the fruits of his labor there in Bloomington, #1 team in America. For you, if you boil it down to one thing in this game that Alabama absolutely has to do to have success to potentially pull the upset, what would it be?
No turnovers.
Yeah.
No turnovers. I mean, I think Alabama has to play clean. That's been the big thing with Alabama. When they've protected the ball in one turnover margin in these games, they've won. I mean, they lost to Oklahoma in November. Here, they turn the ball over 3 times. They go up there. They protect the ball. They're even down 17 points. And guess what? Oklahoma's turning the ball over and making mistakes, and Alabama wins the game. So one thing you can't do against a team, especially as fundamentally sound as Indiana is is you can't make mistakes because I think Alabama and look, I've talked to some people that I really respect that connected to coaches and in the coaching industry who are saying that you look at it man for man. If you really study Indiana, you see that Alabama has an advantage talent-wise in a lot of these spots across the board. You know, and there's just not many players you would exchange out that Alabama has for Indiana's. But they're so fundamentally sound and they're well coached. And guess what? They play probably as close to their potential on a consistent basis as well as any team in the country. And that's what really makes them good. I mean, they have a great plan. They're consistent. They're sound. They're well coached, and they're very confident in what they do. So I just think you have to play clean football against them to not set them up for opportunities.
And based on what you were just talking about, I read this earlier this week, and I put it in my notes, and no one knows recruiting better than you do, Rodney, and this is an amazing stat. Indiana has never signed a five-star player straight out of high school in program history. The Hoosiers have only 2 former four-stars in their starting lineup, while all but 4 of Alabama's starters has at least a 4-star ranking.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But it kind of goes to point out too. Like I said, there's coaches that I've heard from that have said, look, you just watch the tape and you can see that Alabama has an advantage just talent-wise. But again, we'll see which team plays the closest to their potential. And I haven't heard a weather forecast, but I think Conrad was saying it could be pretty bad. Which, listen, I think if it's a wet field and if it's raining, and again, I'm not really sure. I think that probably favors Indiana actually because, their ability to run the football, they run for 221 a game, but their ability to run the football, and I think that Alabama's inability thus far to consistently show they can run the football, that could be really a thing if this is a wet condition field.
And if it's that way, could you see it where it's an Indiana team that tries to shorten the game, run some clock, use that
Sure.
running game, and then to counter that, what do we see from Alabama where at times they've had trouble running the ball?
Yeah. Well, again, that's a really good question because I think they do have to, whether it's dry or wet, whatever the conditions are. I think Alabama's going to have to be more than one-dimensional here. Interesting, there's some people that think, even though Indiana gives up only 77 yards a game rushing, that Alabama's going to have some opportunities to run the football against this defense the way they're going to play. And we'll see. But like I said, I just think that, the wet conditions would seem to me to probably favor Indiana a little bit. And listen, too, remember last year in that bowl game against Michigan when it started raining? Well, I think Alabama was discombobulated from the very first play, but when it started raining, they totally fell apart. You remember that? I mean, they couldn't take a snap. They couldn't throw the ball right. I mean, the ball, so be interesting to see how Alabama responds if it's wet conditions.
Well, I know. I guess you're taping your TV show tonight with Gary, right?
Yes, we actually it's live at 6:30 and then replays at 10:30. Yes.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so we're not going to put you on the spot in regards to your prediction because I know you do that at the end of your TV show. But with that being said, does your gut lean one way or another? You don't have to give us a score, but do you feel pretty good about this matchup for Alabama?
I don't feel pretty good. I mean, even though I've heard a lot of positive things, I mean, no, I don't. Look, I don't. This Alabama team's hard to predict.
Yeah, it is.
So I don't ever feel pretty confident. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do from quarter to quarter. So
that's true.
Or series to series, or play to play. But anyway, no, I mean, again, I think if the weather conditions could really play a factor. If it's weather conditions a little bit, I would lean more Indiana.
Okay. All right.
But now, if I go just based on, okay, let's don't consider weather conditions, I'd lean Alabama a little bit.
Okay. Well, let's hope that the system that they keep predicting will stay away from Pasadena, and it will be a beautiful Chamber of Commerce day there in the City of Roses. If not, it could be a wet track and something that has not happened since 1955, which is reigning during the Rose Bowl. Rodney, Happy New Year to you and your family. I know you've been battling a little cold like a lot of us had over the holidays, so get well soon, and thanks for your time as always.
Thanks, Rodney.
Okay, guys. Happy New Year. Take care.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. That's Rodney Orr, best in the business. You can find his work there at TiderInsider.com. He joined us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services. When we come back, bet it or forget it. I do have Molly's picks.
No.
So she texted us. She texted me her picks, so we'll go over that next on Three Man Front.
Welcome back in. It's Social Taco. If you want to bring in New Year's, you want to watch the college football playoff, Alabama and Indiana, or whatever you want to watch, you can do it there at an upscale sports bar located conveniently there in downtown Birmingham. It's the Finnick. Check them out beginning tomorrow all the way through Monday Night Football. No, they had a good crowd in there last night, but you've got wall-to-wall TVs, projector screens, video boards, an award-winning menu, live acoustic music in the afternoons, weekdays. That's Wednesday through Friday. But you can check it out. See it for yourself. State-of-the-art sound. They'll turn up the game They're the play throughout the Finnick while Alabama and Indiana is on. Check them out. It's the Finnick. 1630 2nd Avenue South near Railroad Park.
Okay, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty towards the end of the season. It's better to forget it. We do 5 games. They pick against the spread. Let's get into it for this week. This is Bet It or Forget It.
The following is for entertainment purposes only. Listener discretion is advised.
3-man fronts. Bet it or forget it.
All right, so here we go, folks. As we're sitting here looking at the standings, right now Landrum's 43-42 against the spread this season. Conrad is 1 game under at 42-43. Meanwhile, Molly is at 41-44. So only 2 games separate first place and last place. So let's get right to it. I have the picks for Molly. Molly is out of the office today, but she did submit her picks, so I have those, and we'll go over those momentarily. All right, let's start with Utah taking on Nebraska. That's a game coming up tomorrow. Utah is a 14.5-point favorite. The point total is 52.5. The total has gone over in 9 of Nebraska's last 11 games. The Cornhuskers, though, are 1-10 straight up in their last 11 when playing as the underdog. The total has gone over in 6 of Utah's last 8 games when playing as the favorite. So let's start with the leader in Landrum. You going to bet it or forget it?
I really want to forget it, to be honest with you, but, man, this is so tough.
Well, as you are pondering, I will tell you that Molly has taken Nebraska plus 14.5.
Okay.
I know that shocks everybody in attendance here. Everyone is laughing because they knew that.
It's a big number.
It is a big number. It's 14.5 points.
Conrad, do you want to jump in?
I'm going to let you take this one, buddy.
I will go
52.5 is the point total, if that interests you.
Yeah, I'll go over.
Okay. Landrum takes the over. How about you, Conrad?
Where are they playing this?
In
Nashville?
Las Vegas.
Somewhere.
Las Vegas.
Yeah. See, I'm with Landrum. This is a tough one. I'll just look. Nebraska's been pretty rough without Dylan Raiola, and Utah's been pretty good. I know Whittingham's not going to be there. I'll roll with Utah. They should win big. They're a much better team.
All right, so you got Utah minus 14.5.
Yep, and you took the over of 52.5.
I like that a lot at 13, or a lot more at 13.5, but we'll take it.
And then, of course, Molly took Nebraska 14.5. All right, next game on the books. Let's go CFP, shall we? Let's talk about Miami and Ohio State. Ohio State is a 9.5-point favorite. 40.5 is the point total. The total has gone under in 7 of Miami's last 10 games. Meanwhile, the Hurricanes, they're 0-6 in their last 6 games versus Big Ten opponents. The Buckeyes, meanwhile, they are an absolutely money-printing machine against the spread. They are 14-2-1 against their spread in the last 17 games. So let's start with Conrad, who is in second place. You going to bet it or forget it?
Oh, I'm going to bet it, Pat, and this is an interesting one. We talked about it yesterday, but a lot of people seem to have kind of gone with Miami as maybe a trendy upset pick here in tomorrow's game. So I do think Ohio State's the better team. I think they're going to get the win, but double digits, I don't know about that. So I'm going to take Miami plus the 9.5. I think Ohio State wins and moves on, but I think Miami can keep it within single digits.
Okay, typically Molly would go in this position, and she has taken Ohio State and the 9.5 points. So it's now to you, Landrum. Are you going to bet it or forget it?
I'm with Conrad. I'm kind of feeling this Miami team, and they proved a lot, though it was ugly. But what they were able to do in College Station, I feel like they got a lot of confidence, and they can get that offense rolling. I like their chances. Give me Miami plus the 9.5.
All right, next game, you've got Oregon, a 2.5-point favorite against Texas Tech. 51.5 is the point total. The Ducks are 7-2 straight up in their last 9 games. When they play on a Thursday, the total has gone over in 5 of Texas Tech's last 5 games against an opponent from the Big Ten Conference. Meanwhile, the Red Raiders, they are 6-0 against the spread in their last 6 games. Molly, she is taking the over of 51 and a half. So now we circle back to Landrum. Will you bet it or forget it?
I'm going to bet the game. What did Molly go with?
Over.
She went over.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of leaning to go under, but give me Oregon.
Conrad.
Yeah, I like both what Molly and Landrum picked in this one. I think you can go wrong either way. I do feel like this might be the game, though. There's one team, and this is just a gut feeling, but one team that maybe is going to be impacted the most by having the extra rest in a not great way. I would probably lean Texas Tech. I think it helped Oregon to play that first game and have JMU kind of run it up a little bit so they have a chip on their shoulder. I think Oregon is the better team. I think they win outright. So, yeah, give me Oregon. I think they win by about a touchdown.
All right, let's go to the Sugar Bowl down in NOLA. Ole Miss taking on the Georgia Bulldogs, a rematch from earlier this season. Georgia, a 6.5-point favorite. 56.5 is the point total. The Rebels are 2-12 straight up in their last 14 games against the Georgia Bulldogs. The total has gone under in 9 of Georgia's last 12 games against the Rebels. The total has gone over in 5 of Ole Miss's last 6 games when playing as an underdog. Once again, Georgia's 6.5-point favorite. 56.5 is the point total. Let's start with you, Conrad.
Yeah, again, I think this is another game where, the over is pretty enticing, especially when in the first game they combined for 78 total points. But I'm going to go with Georgia in this one since it's under a touchdown. I think at the end of the day, it might be similar to that first matchup where it's really even a couple quarters through, maybe even Ole Miss out in front. But I think that coaching mismatch, Pete Golding, his second game as the head coach for Ole Miss, going up against Kirby Smart in the playoffs, I think that's a really, really tough spot. So I'm going to take Kirby and Georgia. I think they pull it out. Give me them by a touchdown.
All right. Molly also likes the Georgia Bulldogs.
And you see who I like?
And you're going with Georgia. Landrum is taking Georgia in the 6.5.
Conrad, I feel the same way. The way that you just summarized, you could see this game going. I think that Ole Miss gives them all they want, but 6.5, that's so tempting, and a late touchdown to give Georgia the lead.
Yep.
I could see Georgia winning this game 31-24. Or 31-27, our favorite final score.
All right, so as we head into the final pick of the week, I'm sitting here looking across the board. So far, you guys only have one pick that is separate, that is different.
We have a blockade on Molly Robinson going on right now.
Meanwhile, Molly has definitely gone different in 3 of the 4 so far. So here we go.
That's what you have to do when you're last.
Final game. That's not fair. She's not here to defend herself.
Yeah,
Why would you
fine.
take shots at her like that?
I would take shots if she was here.
Okay. Indiana,
Happy
Bama.
New Year.
We're going with Indiana, a 7.5-point favorite. 7.5. The point total is 48.5. Bama is 9-3-1 against the spread in their last 13 games. Alabama also 7-3 against the spread in its last 10 games when they play as an underdog. Indiana, meanwhile, they're 3-11 straight up in its last 14 games against an opponent from the Southeastern Conference. So let's start with Conrad. He's already let the cat out of the bag this morning on the morning show. Let's see if he holds serve here. You like Indiana in the 7.5, or are you taking the Tide as an underdog?
Oh, I set such a trap this morning, Pat, on Morning Jocks.
You trap setter, you.
So many people. Oh, I can't
A
believe
lot
you
of
would
people
pick
in this
against
restaurant
Alabama
right now,
at this point
they're
in time.
tuning in, waiting to see what Conrad does here.
Don't throw me in the briar patch.
I know. Oh, you're not picking your team. You're an Auburn fan now. I've heard it all this morning, Pat. And you're right. On Morning Jocks, I did pick Alabama to lose.
You picked
to
Alabama
Indiana.
to lose on the morning show.
I absolutely did.
So are you taking Alabama in the 7.5, or are you taking Indiana in the 7.5?
Pat, because of the hook, I am going to take Alabama and the 7.5.
He's taking Alabama, folks.
However, Indiana will win the game outright. I think Alabama does enough to keep it within a touchdown, but I've got Indiana 24-20. But Alabama keeps it close.
All right, so he likes Alabama. Let me
Wait,
see.
so officially you're taking Alabama plus the 7.5.
Yes.
Yes, but I think Indiana wins the game outright.
Meanwhile, Molly takes Alabama plus the 7.5.
Oh, man.
So we've got Conrad and Molly taking Bama in the points. Meanwhile, Landrum Roberts, you going to bet it or forget it? Come on, forget it. Come on, make it interesting.
In the words of one John Cougar Mellencamp,
Good Indiana guy.
little ditty about Jack and Diane. I'm actually going to take Alabama plus the points.
All right, there you have it. That's this week's Bet It or Forget It. Good luck to all participants. When we come back on Three Man in Front, a guy that really knows a lot more about this stuff and is really, really good at his job, and that's Brian Edwards from Vegas Insider. He joins us next. It is 11:34. Welcome back in. We're live at Social Taco. We just had Bet It or Forget It. We're going to have a professional's point of view on things. Brian Edwards is going to join us momentarily from Vegas Insider. He joins us each and every Wednesday. A reminder, we will not be live tomorrow or Thursday. We will be back live Friday in studio. So we'll have a reaction Friday. We'll get everybody's thoughts on the craziness that was the CFP as the semifinals will be set as we will get back together on Friday. Foundation repair, basement waterproofing, concrete leveling, concrete repair. Those are things that the folks at Alabama Professional Services, they can help you, and they can start today at 205-951-9717. Concrete leveling, very important, because if you've got sinking concrete around your home, Alabama Professional Services can lift and restore your concrete to help eliminate any type of trip hazards. They have that amazing poly-level system. With poly-level, they can quickly restore the appearance and safety of your concrete without the mess or cost of replacement of traditional mud jacking. Again, concrete repair, concrete leveling, with basement waterproofing, foundation repair. They do it all. Get started today at 205-951-9717 or just visit their website, alabamaprofessional.com. Speaking of professionals, man, his Falcons looked good last night, delivered on me with the +7, not to mention the fact the over. Brian Edwards joins us now on Vegas Insider. How about that last night? How about your Dirty Birds? That looked good last night.
They did. They did. I'm a little concerned that Arthur Blank's ignorant self is going to think he should keep Raheem, however, and I don't want that to happen.
So if you get rid of Raheem, where do the Falcons go?
Anywhere else but him. I mean, let's remember this is like the worst division in football, and Atlanta had the lead, and he's a D guy. He was a D coordinator for the Rams. I mean, we had the lead in 4 different losses in the last 2 minutes. I mean, we should be going to the playoffs. But I don't know. I mean, we can find somebody better than him, that's for sure.
Well, Bijan Robinson, man, he is a special talent. Man, he is something else. So
no doubt.
Very good. All right, so let's get right to it. And appreciate you joining us a day early because we wanted to get your thoughts on the CFP as we're off the next couple of days. Let's start with this one between Alabama and Indiana. Right now, Bama around a 7.5 point underdog. It looks like it's going to rain there in Pasadena. First time that's going to happen since 1955. You got to play one way or another here on the Alabama Crimson Tide after that impressive win at Oklahoma.
Yeah, I hate going against Kurt Signetti, but I think just on principalities, Alabama football, a 7-point underdog to Indiana football, I mean, I just think you got to take that a million times out of a million. I think a little more time off has probably got Ty Simpson and Jam Miller more healthy than they've been in a while. And so I am going with Alabama plus the 7. Bama's been an underdog 3 times this year, 2-1, straight up and against the spread. Bama plus 7, and then a small play on Bama plus 210 on the money line.
All right, so you like Bama plus the 7 and plus 210 on the money line.
Correct.
All right.
Brian Edwards continues with us here on 3-Man Frontline from Social Taco, and he joins us on the Higginbotham Hotline. I tell you what, Georgia and Ole Miss, we get a rematch from a game we saw in the regular season with Georgia having their way, but the Dogs only a 6.5 point favorite, got the over at 55.5. It seems like this would be prime for taking Kirby Smart in this spot. What do you think, Brian?
I agree. I like Georgia. I also like a money line parlay that should be a small plus payout with Vandy and Georgia on the money line. That should be like a plus 105, plus 108 payout. But I'm also on Georgia minus 6.5. So now they were trailing going into the fourth quarter in Athens against Ole Miss 35-26, but they outscored them 17-0 and got a front door cover and a 43-35 win as a 7.5 point favorite. And Gunnar Stockton absolutely lit this Ole Miss defense up. That it's a defense that can certainly be had. Stockton had 26 of 31, 289 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks, and 59 rushing yards and 1 touchdown on 10 attempts. Head coaching advantage, Georgia. Let's lay the 6.5 with Georgia. And then a smaller play I have on over 55.5 because I think Ole Miss is going to do some scoring as well. And Ole Miss has had 5 totals this year of 57 combined points or less. The over's 4-1 in those games.
All right, let's talk about Texas Tech and Oregon. And I understand that Texas Tech is new to the party here. But, man, for the life of me, when this point spread came out, I don't know where your personal point spread was, but I'm surprised that Texas Tech is an underdog here. And currently they're a 2.5 point dog to Oregon. Where did you have the point spread? I'm just curious, Brian. And do you like the Red Raiders here or do you like the Ducks?
I made Texas Tech minus 3. I like the Red Raiders to win outright. But with it sitting at 2.5, I think you just relax and hopefully we'll get a clean 3 on the day of the game or later today or tomorrow or, whenever. Because I don't think there's much difference between betting plus 1.5, 2, or 2.5. So let's bet Texas Tech, but let's be patient, and hopefully we'll get a 3 later in the week.
All right, how about Miami and Ohio State? This is a Miami team that they got it done. Give them credit. Wasn't flashy in that game versus Texas A&M in the opening round, but they seem to be getting a lot of public momentum right now heading into this matchup. How do you see that particular game?
I don't like the game, but I like 2 props. I like Malachi Toney over 62.5 receiving yards. He's had at least 66 in 8 of 13 games. And I also like his anytime touchdown prop at plus 180. He has scored a touchdown in 4 consecutive games, and that's 5 total touchdowns. And then he had touchdowns in, 3 other additional games. So that's 7 of 13 games he's had a touchdown. But even last week where he didn't have a whole lot of production, they were force-feeding him against A&M. He had 5 receptions. He had 3 rushing attempts. And they threw it to him a lot more. I'm not seeing how many targets he had, but he had a lot more targets than that. And, look, the 2 games before that, he had 12 catches, 146, and then 13 catches, 126 against Pitt. And he's had, 11 rushing attempts in the last 3 games. So they make a point to get him the ball. Over 62.5 Malachi Toney receiving yards and anytime touchdown plus 180.
All right, let's kind of kick it around a couple bowl games I wanted to ask you about outside the CFP. And I want to talk about the Vanderbilt Commodores taking on the Iowa Hawkeyes. I think there's a bunch of plays potentially here. Is there anything in this game you like between the Hawkeyes and the Commodores?
Yeah, I'm most heavily invested in this game in the bowl season by far. I mentioned how I heavily like the Georgia Vandy money line parlay. And then, look, when Vandy hits that part of it, you could maybe get creative. Maybe Georgia line goes more than 7. Maybe you take a little Ole Miss money line just to, ensure some profit on the money line parlay. But I'm also on Vandy. We could add -4 yesterday morning, but it jumped back up to 5.5. But like I've said since early in the month, I like Vandy at -7 or fewer, so I still am very bullish on it at -5.5. That's a heavy play for me, just like that money line parlay. And then a much smaller play, -2.5 on Vandy in the first half. And then let's go Vandy team total over 26.5. They've scored 31 or more in 10 of 12 games, and they average 39.4 points per game. They have scored exactly 45 in each of their last 3. Now, I know I know Iowa's got a great defense, but that defense is getting too much respect here. Let's also go Diego over 55.5 rushing yards, and let's go his anytime touchdown prop at even money. And then for much smaller, let's also try a couple of long shots. Cedric Alexander to score 2 or more touchdowns plus 450.
Oh, wow.
He has scored two or more touchdowns in 6 of 12 games and 15 total on the season. And then let's go Diego anytime touchdown. And I already say that at even money, as he has scored a rushing touchdown in 6 games in a row in 8 of 12. And as for the over 55.5 in the rushing yards, he's had 58 rushing yards or more in 7 of 12 games. And over 1.5 touchdown passes by Diego is a small plus 104 at FanDuel. So everything Diego, everything Vandy, and I love all of that. I'm going to be either a very happy camper mid-afternoon tomorrow or a very sulky and bitter camper.
Do you have a Diego, like a future prop on if he's still a college quarterback next season? Because I guess you've seen that.
I do not. I haven't seen a betting market for that.
Yeah.
All right, paperwork has been submitted by the law firm, right?
Yeah, they're trying to get him one more year. Why not? You're letting professional basketball players and now professional hockey players play college.
I don't know,
so.
Brian. I want Diego Pavia another year in college football. I think he's good for the game.
I mean, I'd be fine with it, but I mean, if I'm missing something in the last half hour, because I mean, he's already come out and said months ago when that paperwork got filed that this is his last year.
Things have changed.
Well, what has happened in the last couple of days? His attorneys, along with about another 21 football players, including Joey Aguilar from the University of Tennessee, because of the latest situation with the Baylor Center, Njai, going to Baylor, they are now submitting paperwork to try to get another year of eligibility for Joey Aguilar and Diego Pavia based on the NCAA now allowing professional athletes to come back and play. So
Interesting. You know, look, with Boogie Flan kind of struggling for the Gators, I mean, I think White Chocolate could play a better point guard right now. Let's get White Chocolate back.
All right, before we let you go, because America wants to know, outside the CFP, this is the biggest game of the bowl season, and it's the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl in beautiful El Paso, Texas, right on the border of Mexico and the United States. Duke is a 3-point favorite against the Sam Levitless Arizona State Sun Devils.
Yeah, I like Duke -3 there. Mensah is coming back. Arizona State has got so many opt-outs. It's pretty wild. But let's also throw a little college hoops at you because FSU's at the top of my fade list. Let's go with North Carolina -14 tonight. Let's also go Seton Hall -1 at Marquette.
Ooh.
There's you a couple of college hoops play.
Seton Hall's playing really good basketball.
There's a couple of little finger sandwiches from you.
Man.
Just little nibbles.
Man,
I like
Yeah,
it.
look,
love it.
there you go.
Were you not impressed when I texted you last night in my plays last night? I mean, I thought you would.
Yes, I was.
Okay.
I liked it.
All
I
right.
liked it, buddy. Good stuff. Good. Did
I
you have
love your
money line,
Vanderbilt
Falcons?
love.
No, I did not do Moneyline Falcons. I had I had the points and I had the over. So
There you go. That's
I
all
was
right.
kind of
That'll
sweating
work.
the over a little bit, but yeah, it worked out. So
It
was
got
good.
there.
All right, Brian, it's been a great year. We always appreciate it. We're going to keep this rolling as we do year-round with you. But Happy New Year, my friend.
Happy New Year.
Always appreciate everything you do for us, and it should be a fun next couple of days.
Thanks, fellas. Happy New Year, and go anchor down tomorrow.
Sounds good. Thank you, Brian. That is Brian Edwards from Vegas Insider. Joined us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
In our office football pool, I went and looked it up. I'm 5-2 when betting on Vanderbilt this season.
Are you really?
Yep.
So you're loading up again.
Through the office football pool.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But yeah, no, I go ahead and tell you, I took Vanderbilt because Brian just reinforced.
You just heard everything. He's
Yeah.
got like 20 bets
Yeah, I went Vandy.
on Vanderbilt.
I went Vandy, and I went Vandy with a key pick. That's my key
did you?
pick. Yep,
Very nice.
I'm smelling Vanderbilt.
We will continue on as the crowd continues to swell up here on the Taco Terrace. We
Goodness
appreciate
gracious,
everybody.
where'd all these people come from?
Man, it's packed. Only a couple seats remaining, so if you get an opportunity to come join us, come on up and see us. FSU Dave is not here yet. Hopefully the
Where
streak,
is he?
The streak needs to continue. He's been here for like the last, 2 years nonstop?
Yeah.
Every Tuesday?
Maybe he's making a shepherd's pie.
Yeah, hope so. All that straight ahead. Trey Wallace at 12, 12:30. Brett Norsworthy, 1 o'clock. Dimitri Ravanos, 1:30. Chris Stewart, the voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Jam-packed show here on this Taco Tuesday on Jocks. It is 11:52. We're live at Social Taco. Come on by and see us. We'll be here until 2 o'clock as we kind of wrap up 2025. A reminder, we will not be live tomorrow or Thursday. You can hear the CFP right here on Jocks, and we'll be back live in studio at 10 a.m. on Friday. It'll be a Reaction Friday. Either Alabama have punched their ticket to the semifinals or the season has concluded, and we'll see if Georgia or Ole Miss carries the SEC banner moving forward.
You asked us the question yesterday during Pat Ponders about our bowl watching, and up until this point, it's been very, very little compared to past years for me. But I told you that today, and especially tomorrow, this is where I feel like we're a lot of America that has been watching casually like I have. They start to dial in and watch more games because we do have more meaningful, more attractive.
There's more
matchups.
Intriguing matchups.
Yeah.
Over the next couple of
Are you there, Conrad? Because you were kind of with me on how much you had consumed so far.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way with you, and especially with, I feel like once you get past Christmas, like that week's normally really busy.
It's
I feel
a
like
lot.
this week's not as busy. It's more so just, kind of hanging out at home, and I think that'll benefit a lot of people, and the viewership will certainly reflect that. But if you need somewhere you can catch all the bowl games this week, why not head over to Big Whiskey's? Because not only is that a place for great food of all varieties, but you're also going to want to check out their bar that features unique cocktails, including over 120 different whiskeys for you to choose from. And, of course, they have plenty of screens for you to catch all the bowl games, all the college football playoff, NFL, college hoops, and much, much more. They have different food and drink specials each and every day of the week, so make sure you check in frequently with our good friends at Big Whiskey's. You can find them in Stadium Trace Village off of Highway 150 near the Hoover Met.
Just saw an article as the year is wrapping up. Sports will officially account for 96 of the 100 most watched TV shows of 2025. That is tied with 2023 for a record number. And they also saw an increase from 87 during an Olympic and election year in 2024. Football games, college, and the NFL will make up 92 of this year's top 100 telecasts. The overwhelming majority of them will come from the NFL. An estimated 84 of the top 100 most viewed television shows was the National Football League.
My question is, who are the 4 non-sports shows that ranked? Was it politics?
Yes. President Trump's address to a joint session of Congress, the State of the Union. Trump's inauguration also made the list. Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade and the Oscars. So those are your 4. You had 2 political, 1 Oscars, and 1 Thanksgiving Day Parade.
No Indiana Fever. Were they a part of that? They might have been.
No, was not.